98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning. It is the 16th day of November 2020. Good morning from Adrian Kennedy. And this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. We're here until midday today. Now, it's just getting to me. Every time I see it, I'm a bumbling mess. Christmas TV ads have come a long way since Penny's got a whole lot of things for Christmas. That used to be the height of it. Now it's all about pulling on the heartstrings and making an ad that will have people grabbing the tissues. This craze was all started by UK firm John Lewis over the last number of years. Well, over the weekend, many major companies released their 2020 Christmas ads and everyone got emotional. I don't know about you, but the ad that really has gotten to me this year is the ad for Super Value, which I'll play in a second. I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. So the Super Value ad with Grandad coming for Christmas, the Coca-Cola ad with Daddy coming home for Christmas, the Disney ad with Granny and her Mickey Mouse teddy, the Woolies ad, the McDonald's ad. Anyway, every single one of them give you a lump in your throat. So with that in mind, I want to hear from you. What Christmas ad, past or present, left you in tears? Is it the John Lewis ad from a few years back with the little boy and his pet penguin? Or is it this one? I have to give 10 out of 10 to the marketing people of Super Value for just encapsulating what 2020 has all been about. This is a slightly edited version of their advert.
COVID-19 continues to cause restrictions across.
Mom, is he still coming this year?
Of course he is.
Really, Dad?
He's coming.
Did you get the one you liked?
Of course I did.
These are his favourites. Is he definitely coming?
You just gotta believe.
Are you sure?
He's coming.
Grandad!
Happy Christmas, Connor.
I knew you'd come.
When I saw that ad on Thursday or Friday last week, it just got me. It just got me. Because it just really summarises what 2020 has been all about. And yeah, it really, really got me. And just even listening to it without even seeing the ad, it's getting to me. I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98 and let me know what Christmas advert, past or present, has really got to you. Now, last year, I have to be honest, and I can't even look at this ad because it gets me every single time. Last year, John Lewis released their advert with Edgar the dragon in it, and I can't even explain what it was about that ad that just... I don't fight this feeling any longer. And I can't even look at it. It's playing on my screen here from YouTube, and I can't even look at the ad because every time I see it, it gets me. What started out as friendship has grown. Okay, Edgar, I can't even look at you, sorry, because you just get me every time. Peter, good morning.
Morning, Adrian.
How are you, Peter? Sorry.
I swear, can you hear me, Adrian?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, an emotional wreck.
Yeah. Why? Which ad was it that did it for you?
It has the McDonald's ad, Adrian. Oh my God.
Yeah, this is the McDonald's ad with the young fella who's...
The inner child trying to get out.
Yeah, and his mammy is there and he's trying to be all...
cool and hip and, you know, this everyday, the new teenager, and my God, it does, you know, it brought back a lot of memories, and, you know, we've grown up and getting past the whole stage of, Christmas and that, and then, reliving it. My God, I tell you one thing, I was an emotional wreck. I actually rang my wife and told her I was in tears.
Really?
Yeah, and she's like, get up out of that.
Yeah, no, I did watch it earlier on, and I can see why it would get to you all right, but there's obviously something in an advert that just strikes a chord with you, and obviously
what I think it is, Adrian? I think it's the music.
Yeah, maybe that's,
We're only watching the skies, hoping for the best but expecting the worst.
Yeah.
You can feel the emotion in the, oh my God, I'm actually nearly down again. Get me out.
And I have to say, you have to give the companies credit for the way they're able to pull on the heartstrings like that.
They literally, they do. They pulled on nearly every single emotion that's available to me.
Yeah.
And then sitting there, I was like, I might actually just drive up to McDonald's and listen to the song and look outside.
Yeah, and like I said, so obviously that ad meant something to you.
I don't know what it was. It just struck a chord, Adrian. It struck a. I don't know what it is. I think the whole inner child thing is sometimes we forget, how to enjoy ourselves, and we're moving way too fast in life or something. I don't know. It just sort of caught me,
Do you really want to live forever?
You really want to get me going again. Oh, thanks. Oh,
yeah, no problem. Like
Merry
I said,
Christmas.
And to you.
Oh.
Good luck, Peter. 6797981 is our telephone number. As somebody just texted in, my God, Adrian, what are you trying to do to us? What am I trying to do? I don't know. Kira sent me this.
Oh, there was a Christmas ad on last year. I can't for the life of me remember whose ad it was, but it was a bloke in, I don't know, late 20s or something like that, and he's living alone and he's marking off the calendar in December every day, and you see him doing this every day and every day and every day, and then it gets to Christmas Day and he sits down and plays a tape from his deceased mother. That had me in floods. Absolute floods. I can't for the life of me remember who did the ad, but it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Anybody know what that ad she's talking about? Sorry, Kira, it doesn't strike a chord with me. If anyone knows what it was, will you send me a WhatsApp to 0877 98 98 98. Now, Sinead, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Sinead?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Sinead. Now, what advert? Oh, it's the Super Value ad got to you as well.
Oh my God. I was driving on Saturday in the van on deliveries and it was played on the radio.
Yeah.
And I actually had to pull the van over. I was sobbing so much. And then I watched it on YouTube and I was in floods for about 20 minutes.
I have to tell you, it had the exact same effect on me.
Yeah.
And I can't even... Yeah. Because I think what they did so cleverly was they just summarised what this year has been all about.
Absolutely. My children are on countdown to Christmas and I haven't seen my parents in months. And all they want to do is see Granny and Grandad in Donegal. And I can't even promise them that it'll happen.
No, of course,
And I haven't seen my own grandmother in months. And I think it's so real. Mm. It really, really, really catches on the emotion,
Yeah, and in a clever... Well, I was going to say in a clever way, because they just, like I said, that has been 2020 for an awful lot of us. And... An awful lot of us are hanging on that hope that we'll get to see our loved one, like you said, heading up to Donegal, and fingers crossed you'll be able to, and fingers crossed you'll be able to see your parents, see your grandmother, and all of that. Yeah. But that advert really just says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. And I'm not even going to let my children watch it because my son will be inconsolable if he sees it on TV. He'll just believe it's real then and think he's going to absolutely get to see Granny and Grandad because it said so on the TV. So I'll have to hide it from them for the next month.
That's awful, isn't it? Yeah.
Until we know what's going to happen,
But obviously you've your fingers crossed that is what you're going to get to do.
I really hope so. I work in retail, so I'll be working until the very end of Christmas Eve, and then we'll be able to see if we can travel up or not.
All right, well, I'll keep my fingers crossed that the
Thank you.
that the super value ad actually comes true for you.
I really hope so.
Oh, you get me going now, Sinead. I'll be in bits by the end of this show.
Oh my God.
Great to talk to you. Thanks very much
too,
indeed.
thank you.
6797 981 is our telephone number. We're talking about Christmas ads that have just got to you, and there have been many. There have been many that just do it. Just strike that chord with you, and you become a bumbling idiot. Where am I going now? Oh, this is really going to get us. Brenda, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Brenda?
Hiya.
Now, Brenda, what was the ad that really got to you?
Oh, the John Lewis ad, The Man on the Moon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. I forgot about this. This was actually from 2015. And let's have a listen to this now.
This city, this old town don't smell too pretty.
And they're looking at the moon. And they're zooming in with the telescope onto the moon. And I'll just fast forward through it. And oh, yeah.
So what do you say?
I can't even look at this now.
I think it's just the music, and because it's an old man, it's just when he's on his own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have to turn away the screen here. It's playing in the studio here, and I have to turn my head away from it because it just... Yeah, I forgot about this one. And what... Can you put into words how it got you?
I think it's just because he's an old man and he has nobody and he's on his own, and she's trying to just give him something for Christmas, and it's just so sad.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, right, you're going to really have me going. Yes, that's actually 5 years old, that ad is. That's hard to believe, but it really is.
Still gets me.
All right, great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. We're going to be in bits by the end of this show today. Let's have a listen to this from Rona.
Adrian, for me, it has to be the super value ad. All along through the ad, you think he's waiting for the big man himself, like Santa. And then it wasn't. It was his granddad. All he wanted was to see his granddad for Christmas. And that, to me, put a lump in my throat. And it takes a lot to do that because people think I'm real cold-hearted. You know what? But anyway, yeah, super value ad this year is my one. Thanks, bye.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 to super value. Angela, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Angela.
Oh, Adrian, I'm just a bit there. Oh, God, all of them, they're just... It really is the most wonderful time of the year, like, you know.
I know, but if it makes us all cry, like, what's the point?
But they're happy tears. My one is the John Lewis ad with Lily Adams and the bear and the rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
And he leaves the alarm clock there so the bear can get up on Christmas morning. And
I forgot about that, yeah.
Spend Christmas with them. And there was two kids I used to mind in Rathgar. When that one came out, and every time I hear it, it just reminds me of them, and I'm a bit.
And this was the bear and the hare, John Lewis ad, isn't that it?
Bear, yeah, that's the bear.
Oh, yeah.
So he misses Christmas.
Oh, yeah, I can't even look at that myself. Believe it or not, that ad is actually 7 years old. That was their advert in 2013.
Yeah. And it's so cute, you know, and the two kids I minded when we watched it first, Emily turned around and she went, he left the alarm clock so he could get up on Christmas morning. So I was like, oh, that's it, I'm gone.
Oh, yeah, so somebody just texted in a second ago, my God, will you all get a grip on yourselves?
Yeah, this is what Christmas
There's somebody with no emotional string at all to their personality. If you just can't get it.
This is what we look forward to every year, is the Christmas ad.
Yeah.
You know, and fair dues to super value. I have to say, worldwide, it's the best one I've ever seen in my life.
It was. It is, to their credit.
It's so poignant for right now.
For right now, yeah. I mean, if you watch that advert next year, it won't mean anything when we're over this whole thing. And if they play it next year, it'll mean nothing to you. But this year, it just does. And you just heard that lady from Donegal. She's going to have to keep her kids away from the ad, just in case they don't get to see Grandad at Christmas.
Because I burst out crying when I saw it was Grandad.
Yeah.
Burst out crying, you know, and super value, well done. You're amazing for this.
Yeah. All right.
You know.
Good to talk to you, Angela. Thanks very much indeed. God, she's in bits. Martin, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Martin. Now, the advert that you're on about, I haven't seen yet. So...
Neither did I, Adrian, until about 10 minutes ago. My partner sent it to me. And she just says, reminder of anyone, my next door neighbour, they're 87. And just doing a few things around there. Not thinking anything, just doing a few things around their house. And
okay, now, I am going to watch this with you, right? And I'm going to, for anybody who hasn't seen this ad, this is the ad for Woodies. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Woodies.
With the old lady.
It's just the same, a bit of an emotional wreck.
Okay, so I'm going to describe this. So there's an old lady coming out her front door and opens her rickety gate. She's with the dog and her shopping trolley.
Yeah.
Walking past the young fellas.
No, the little hard man, yeah.
Yeah, little hard man. She slams her gate closed when she comes back. And there she is, sitting at the window.
Hello, Mrs. Higgins. Hello, Sally.
How's it going, Mrs. Higgins?
Hi, love.
Oh.
Here we go, Kevin.
Her gate is fixed. She's walking into her house.
Happy Christmas, Mrs. Higgins.
It's one of the little hard men that fixed her gate.
Woodies. We're all homemakers.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it got me. It really got me.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that's the first time I've seen that now. That's the Woodies ad. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Send me the goosebumps, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a great ad.
No, the super value ad is great, and I thought it was a brilliant idea.
And in fact, that ad, Woody's ad, is also about what this year has been about. People doing DIY and all of that. Yeah, very clever. All right, good man, Martin. Thanks very much indeed. All right, let's squeeze in a couple more. This is Ashley.
Hi, Adrian. I've just sent the video, but it's the ad that always gets me. It's about the dad and all his kids are living away, and they're all too busy for Christmas, so he fakes his own death to get them all together for Christmas.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, it was real emotional.
Oh, yeah. What was that for? I can't remember what that was for. Abula finds the McDonald's ad so emotional.
The new McDonald's ad with the whole soundtrack and the whole concept of it all together just really gets to me. Like, it really, really makes me emotional. I've watched it 3 times now, and I don't think I can watch it again. It hits me.
Okay, Dave sums up how many of us feel.
Hey Adrian, definitely that John Lewis had with the man on the moon. I mean, why, John Lewis, would you do that to us at Christmas? Why would you do it to us?
Yeah, why would they? Michelle.
Hi Adrian. For me, it is the Guinness ad. Doesn't matter how many times I hear it or see it over Christmas, every time I see it, I get shivers down my spine. It just reminds me of being home, the home of the black stuff. I love it every time. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks very much indeed. Pauline is in bits.
Jesus, Adrian, would you stop all these people crying? Has me crying. And I know the super value had me crying too. But even just listening to you guys talking about them and then listening to people crying has me crying. Oh my God.
Elisa is also a blubbering mess.
Morning, guys. Oh, stop. I'm a blubbering mess here on a Monday morning. Love the show. Thanks. Bye.
And it just shows you. And a year later, the one that got me, and I can't even, if I'm being honest, I can't explain why it got to me so much, but the ad with John Lewis's ad last year with Edgar the dinosaur, the dragon, I can't explain what it was. Poor thing there on his own, and he's a social outcast. And Sinead.
Hey Adrian, the one that got me is Love is a Gift. It was on YouTube. It's about his mum that had passed away, leaves a note from every Christmas, and she left him a last note, and I felt really emotional having lost my own mum and dad. So yeah, I thought it was very sad. So it's time to remember our loved ones that are not here as well. So yeah, that's what that gets me all the time.
I just got a message a second ago. For me, it's the Aldi ad with Kevin the Carrot. I can't even talk about it. Totally irrational, but I bawl hysterically every time. My boyfriend thinks I'm mad. And finally, Sharon.
Hi, my name is Sharon. I'm actually sucking on chocolate now. That's to help me with the tears and the upset. A healthcare worker, I pulled over the side of the road to look at the ad, and I have to wait till my tears stop. And I finish eating the chocolate because that's comfort eating. Happy Christmas.
Oh, Sharon. Okay, wrap up with this one.
Hey lads, Bob here. It's the revenue one that gets me every year. They say don't forget to pay our taxes. And every year they play. Jeez, not the revenue.
Yes. Thanks very much indeed. We just had to play this one more time. Here we go.
Mom, is he still coming this year?
Of course he is.
Really, Dad?
He's coming.
Did you get the one you liked?
Of course I did.
These are his favourites. Is he definitely coming?
You just gotta believe.
Are you sure?
He's coming.
Grandad!
Happy Christmas, Connor.
I knew you'd come.
I have to take a breather. We're back in a second.
The sound of the city, from Stony Batter to Stepaside. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
We were talking about SuperValue's amazing Christmas ads. That leads me lovely into this. Here at 98 FM, we have thousands of euro to be won right across the week to spend on SuperValue online shopping. So, earlier on this morning, Brendan and Rebecca on 98 FM's Big Breakfast ordered something online. But what did they order online from SuperValue? If you know the answer to that, if you were listening to Rebecca and Brendan earlier on, send a message to me right now with SuperValue and the answer to 0877 98 98 98. We will pick a lucky winner in just a moment who's about to win a €250 SuperValue voucher. Isn't that nice? Okay, so earlier on today, Rebecca and Brendan did a bit of online shopping and they ordered something. But what was it they ordered? If you know the answer, send SuperValue followed by the answer to 0877 98 98 98. I have a €250 SuperValue voucher to give away to do some online shopping. It's amazing. It's a great prize. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to be ordering something that you have to collect with Barry Dunn later on this afternoon. Okay? I'll tell you what I'm ordering in just a moment. So, let us pick a winner. And hang on there now. We're just getting the winner transferred to us, I think. Let's go to Ballymun. Aisling, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
Aisling Johnson from Ballymun. Aisling, earlier on this morning, Rebecca and Brendan on 98 FM's Big Breakfast ordered what from SuperValue Online?
Smoked ham.
Smoked ham. Is that the right answer? Did they, earlier on today, order smoked ham at SuperValue Online shopping?
Merry Christmas!
Yes, they did. Aisling, congratulations to you. You've just won yourself a €250 shopping voucher for SuperValue Online. So well done you.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be in touch with you and arrange all that with you. Congratulations, Aisling.
Hi, thank you.
Aisling Johnson from Ballymun has just won a €250 voucher for SuperValue Online shopping. So, later on today, Barry Dunn is going to give away more. So I am going to do a bit of online shopping now. Okay, so hang on. Here we go. I'm going to order STUFFING. Okay. Okay, grand. I've just ordered stuffing. Yeah, I've just ordered stuffing. So make a note of that, because later on today, between 12 and 4, at some stage this afternoon, Barry Dunn will be asking you what I ordered online today. So what have I just ordered? I have just ordered stuffing. I mean, you have to have stuffing for Christmas, don't you? So there you are. Stuffing is what I've just ordered. Barry Dunn will ask you later on today what Adrian ordered. And that is the answer. Stuffing. So make sure you stay listening to Barry right throughout the afternoon, and more chances for you to win and more super value vouchers to be won. So stuffing is what I've just ordered. Make sure you know what it is when Barry asks you later on today, and the very best of luck to you. So stuffing. Listen out for Barry later on.
The sound of the city, from Sallynoggin to Swords. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we are here until midday today. Now, next on the programme, this morning before the show, we went on to adverts.ie to see how many quad bikes or scramblers there are for sale at the moment. And there are loads. There are kids' scramblers and quad bikes with powerful engines for sale for as little as €150. This becomes an issue every year around Christmas time, with parents buying these things for their kids and not seeing the dangers involved. In a moment, I'll be talking to Sinn Féin Dublin West TD Paul Donnelly, who is calling for action on this issue. We'll find out what he wants to see happen in a moment. But he has some interesting figures on this. Between 2014 and 2019, 6 people lost their lives in scrambler and quad-related incidents, and 60 people have been injured in quad and scrambler-related incidents in the same period. 48% of these incidents involved people under the age of 18. Kids, basically. Sinn Féin believes that current laws on scramblers and quad bikes are not enough, and the Gardaí don't have enough powers to deal with the menace. So they are pushing through legislation, and I'm going to find out what the legislation they're planning to offer or to push forward is all about in a second. But what is your opinion of parents who are considering buying their kids quads or scramblers or even electric scooters for Christmas? I mean, they're just as dangerous. What should be done to stop this happening? Because you can rest assured that on Christmas morning, in fields all around Dublin, lads and girls will be belting up and down on them. Should websites like adverts.ie stop advertising them for sale? So I'm just looking at one advert here. Brand new 125cc quads and 125cc dirt bikes and 50cc dirt bikes, €290. I'm just looking at that ad right this very second. Now, as I said, Sinn Féin is to push new legislation forward this week where they want the Gardaí to have extra powers. The main thrust of the extra powers is that they can confiscate scramblers and quads when they're being used on a public road or in a public area. But the reality of it is that you can just go back down to the Garda station that afternoon and claim it back, which is what people do. And we want to know whether or not the authorities should have the power to destroy quad bikes. Destroy them, literally. Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. As I said, I'm joined on the line by Sinn Féin TD for Dublin West, Paul Donnelly. Paul, how big of a problem is this?
I suppose if anybody who's living in any urban area throughout the state will know that scramblers and quads are, and the unlawful use of scramblers and quads is a huge problem. and unfortunately has resulted in the deaths between 2014 and 2019 of 6 people, and we know from statistics that over 60 people have also been injured, some of them, with life-changing injuries. So it was in the programme for government that was recently released, but unfortunately it wasn't published for the upcoming autumn-winter schedule. So I decided that I think it was time, long beyond time, that we do something about this.
Okay, so the main issue here, from what I understand, is the lack of powers that the Gardaí have to actually deal with the illegal use. We know it is illegal to use scramblers and quads on public roads, but the Gardaí seem powerless to do anything about it. That's really the nub of what you're trying to do here, is it?
I suppose under the Road Traffic Act, anybody who's driving a vehicle, whether it be a motorbike or a scrambler or a quad, would obviously need tax, insurance, a licence, etc. So the Gardaí do have the powers to deal with somebody driving on a public road. However, they don't have powers to seize or detain quads or motorbikes that are on open spaces in our communities or in public parks or in sports grounds. So we have looked at the legislation, and we have proposed that we would change that legislation or amend the legislation to allow the Gardaí to seize and detain quads and scramblers on public parks and open spaces.
And would that be a permanent seizure, that they could literally impound the vehicle and scrap it?
Absolutely. I suppose what we're looking for at the moment, unfortunately, if a quad or scrambler is seized on a park or an open space, the person can legitimately go down to the Garda station, and he can get that bike back, and they have done on many occasions. What we are looking for is absolutely the power of the seizure, and if necessary, to destroy those bikes as well, because many of them would be in very poor condition as well. So they wouldn't be safe to use on public roads. So if they're not safe to use on public roads, they shouldn't be safe to use on public parks and open spaces where we have elderly people who wish to, who can't go for their daily walks. We have young families who can't let their parents, who can't let their children out on open spaces. And we have also clubs, sports clubs who, have had matches and training cancelled because the squads and the scramblers are driving up and down their training spaces or their pitches, or they have been destroyed by quads and scramblers who have, done donuts and rallied around and pretty much destroyed and cut up the pitches.
Now, going back to the figures that you mentioned a minute ago, 6 people have died between 2014 and 2019 related to the use of scramblers, and 48% of incidents involving injury and so on have been people under the age of 18. So we're talking about children. So obviously the warning is there for parents that if you buy one of these, firstly, you're putting your child at great risk, but secondly, if this legislation were to go through, that vehicle could be impounded and destroyed.
Absolutely. And I would certainly, and part of the motion we have presented and will present tomorrow will be around a national campaign, a statewide campaign to really drive it home to parents and to guardians that it is utterly irresponsible to buy a child a quad or a scrambler if they are not part of an organised club and they have a space that's available to them to use it safely, to be trained, to have the proper equipment, the helmets. We would certainly appeal to any parent or any guardian, in the run-up to Christmases where most of them would be purchased, is to be that responsible parent and say no to your child or to that young person who's demanding a quad or a scrambler. These are really, really dangerous vehicles, and they should only be in the hands of people who are experienced or who are in clubs where they can get that experience and that training.
Is there a possibility for prosecuting parents who actually buy them for children?
It's something that we have looked at. It's more complex and it's more difficult, and I suppose what we're trying to do in the first instance is to put in legislation so that these scramblers and these quads, if they are being driven unlawfully and illegally on public spaces, on our roads, on our open spaces, our green spaces in our states, that they are seized, they're detained and they're seized, and then they, that the people don't have access to those again. So that's what we're trying to do in the first instance. The second instance, what we're also doing is appealing to parents not to purchase those. And I suppose there's another element of it is that, look, in my area in Dublin 15, we have a motocross track, and unfortunately, there are difficulties with insurance. So, there is a possibility, or there's something that we need to do to encourage people who want to do this, because it is a sport. It is something that people absolutely love to do. So we would certainly hope that we would encourage, particularly the insurance companies, to look at clubs who are trying to provide a service in their communities, to provide insurance that people can afford.
All right, now you mentioned that in the last Dáil, Fianna Fáil were supporting this motion for improved Garda powers to deal with scramblers and quads. Is it likely that this will pass into legislation before Christmas 2020?
We're hopeful. We have a bill that's going through the legal department at the moment. The bill, which we will present, we hope will have covered what Fianna Fáil had already published as well. And we're hopeful that they will support this. I know that there are a couple of TDs, the likes of Deputy Paul McAuliffe and Deputy John Lahart, are also, very involved in trying to get legislation passed in both Fianna Fáil TDs. So we would hope that they will look at this. They will look at this favourably tomorrow evening, and they will support us when it comes to this. It's not contentious, and it's something I think that will benefit every community throughout the state, every community throughout the state.
All right, Sinn Féin Dublin West TD Paul Donnelly, thank you very much indeed for talking to us on 98 FM.
Thank you.
I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. Should the Gardaí have the power not only to seize scramblers being used in public places, but destroy them, mangle them, mash them up? We're back in a sec.
The sound of the city, from Drumcondra to Dorky. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
What sorts of powers do you think the Gardaí should be given in order to deal with the ongoing annual issue of scramblers and quad bikes being used in public places? It is a major issue. And in fact, let me start with this WhatsApp voice note from Stephen.
Them bikes are a disgrace, Adrian. I think they should be taken off the streets, because they're on our bloody streets, they're on our pathways. You can't even hear them coming. They've nearly knocked me down with my dog a few times. And they're flying up Grattan Street, Henry Street. They might as well be on a motorbike. Do you know what I mean? Like, they go so quick. What is it, 40, 50 miles an hour? I mean, I've seen the speed of these things. And then I can't even bring my dog down the canal. I've tried to do that, and they're flying them down the canal. I mean, are they not allowed on the road? I've seen them on the road, but I've seen people also jump from the road onto the path, and then back onto the road, and then back onto the path. I mean, it's just crazy altogether. Do you want to do something about this and make it quick?
All right, Stephen. Paul, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Paul?
How are you? Not too bad.
Paul, you were saying that we need to ask local councils to give us space to practice on.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's me and it's a group on the Facebook, Yacht Motocross Island. Basically, we can't get any spaces by the legal way, okay? We even have a club, insurance and everything. They won't let us into any land. We get few spaces, kind of a secret spaces, okay? We can't share them on the Facebook and anywhere else, where we get half permission to drive the kids. I agree these bikes are dangerous. This for $299, as I said. They have lawn mover engine, brakes from the bicycles. The lads are driving on this. They have no helmet, no idea what they do. I spend couple thousand a year with my child to practice his motocross skills. I drive.
And what age is he, Paul?
He's 9.5 at the moment, yeah.
9.5.
Mm-hmm.
And where do you bring him?
Well, I can't say on the radio, yeah, because we have a local place where we can go.
But is it private land?
No, it's not private land. No.
It's not private land. Okay,
we get a half of kind of a deal that we don't bring 50 people, 20 people. We don't do racing. We just do the practice there, basic movements, no jumping, kind of that when we can go. I agree the parents should spend the time with the kids when they're doing this. It's a dangerous thing. But when you buy the proper bike with the proper brakes, proper CC, something like you can go on the track, you spend 500-600 euros for your helmet for your kid, body armor and everything like that, and you are with the child all the time. It's a good joy for it, you know. My son gave up the Facebook and all, not Facebook, but, all the tablets and everything, and he's just thinking about the riding the bikes and do the school at the moment.
Okay, so you take your 9-year-old young fella to a particular plot of land with a couple of others, and they go around on their scramblers with all their safety gear and everything else.
Yes, and we have a scramblers as well as adults, so we follow the kids through that track as well,
Okay, now, is your young fella's scrambler ever used in a public place?
No, I don't allow to do it, no.
You don't allow him to do it, okay.
No.
But you do it in a certain location. Do you have permission to do what you're doing where you're doing it?
Yes.
Okay. But it's not private property?
No, it's not private property, and as I said, we can't share it because we don't have... it's a lot of people looking for a place to practice the kids. And I think, you see, the Dublin City Council, I'm not from Dublin, but I'm from Meath, and Meath has a lot of land free. Same as Kildare, Dublin, whatever, Wicklow. We can't go there. Like, it's a joke, basically, That's the reason why all these kids go on the yard on Christmas Eve when they get the scrambler.
Okay, so you're saying that the reason we have such a problem with scramblers being used in public areas, on roads, on football fields, all that sort of stuff, is because the councils aren't providing places for you to do it?
Yes, you can try yourself. Just send email to your council and say, look, we're looking to rent the land. We are actually the motocross club. We have insurance to practice for our children on a 50 or 65cc engines. You get no response, or you say no, and that's it. There's no talking about this with any council, I think, in this country, basically.
Okay, but let me ask you, Paul. Let me ask you. The problem, and what that Sinn Féin TD was talking about was, the problem is, and I accept what you're saying, you don't let your young fella use his bike in a public area, but the problem is that many people are using them in public areas, and Sinn Féin want the Gardaí to have the power not only to seize them, which they do at the moment, but to actually destroy them. Would you agree with that?
I think the better idea would be to find the parents. We are the parents, and we are responsible for our children, yes?
Yeah, but I would argue with you, Paul, that if a parent is an irresponsible parent and allows their young fella out on the road on one of these things, or in the local GA pitch or whatever, that same irresponsible parent is going to go and take the bike back. They won't care about the fine, and they'll just give it back to the young fella.
Yeah, well, that's I can agree on this as well. I mean, anything can be done. I mean...
okay, so what about impounding and destroying scramblers and quads used in public places?
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
Okay, all right. Stay there for 1 second, Paul. Liz, I'll take your call straight after the break.
98.
It's 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And this is Laura with Monday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. New Bus Connect plans have been criticised by people who are visually impaired. The redesign of the city's bus network was published by the NTA earlier this month. A public consultation is open on the proposals until December 16th. There's a call to ban takeaway pints from pubs to reduce the number of people gathering in groups. It comes after footage emerged over the weekend of crowds drinking on South William Street. Local pub Grogan's was closed, and its owners say they're furious after their premises was used as a toilet. And 2 COVID testing facilities will open at Dublin Airport on Thursday. They'll offer people either a drive-through or walk-in test. They're fully open to the public whether they require a test for travel or other reasons. All customers need to pre-book, with prices starting at €99. And now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. What sorts of laws would you like to see being brought in order to deal with the ongoing problem of scramblers and quads being used in public places and destroying football pitches and just generally being a nuisance? Liz, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Liz?
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Grand, thanks, Liz. What did you want to say on this?
I just think they should be all taken away from them all, I'm being honest. I think it's an absolute disgrace. And the man that's just been on there, to be honest, he might be with his child, a 9-year-old on a scrambler. I mean, what sort of parenting is that? I'm sorry, I have to say it. They're only young children. I see it myself where I live. I have a main road on the back of my back garden here, and it might be up on the fields, but all of a sudden they're coming out onto the road. There's cars coming up and down. If they hit a car, the car is responsible, not them, because they're not taxed and insured. The other people, cars, they are. And
Okay,
like,
let me firstly put that to Paul, your first statement, which was...
Yeah. I just don't agree with young children being on them. A 9-year-old.
Okay, Paul, what sort of parenting is it that has a 9-year-old on a scrambler, albeit under supervision?
Well, you see, we can say the same if someone ride a bicycle on the street without a helmet, can hit the curb and die, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's always the same. As I sometimes say, don't wake out, don't get out from the bed if you know you're going to die, you know? You know, it's just a sport. It's a sport like any other sport.
And I understand what you're saying, that all of life is a risk. Everything you do in life is a bit of a risk.
Yeah.
Okay, but a 9-year-old on the scrambler is an extra risk, is it not?
Well, if you are in a proper location and you explain your child and you practice, you are with him, the proper helmet, your bike is not fast, your kid drives driving with the motorcycle, okay? He understands what is the clutch, what is the gears and all. I don't see the problem with this, you know, when it's a big yard, I mean, not a yard where there's a walls around and something like that, it's a big field. Nothing can happen. You know, he can break the leg or hand. It's all right, it's a sport. You can go play GAA, wherever, it's exactly the same. It's a sport like a sport, you know?
Okay, Liz, it's exactly like playing a game of Gaelic. You could get injured, but you might not.
No, I don't think it is, Adrian, to be quite honest with you. Because as that man said, I heard some of it, I didn't get it all, sorry, but you go up on a hill, right? I heard that, man. You go up on a hill, you can do this, that, once you have your gears in place and that. Well, I'm going to say something now, Adrian, and you can tell this man from me. I know a chap 20 years of age that got a shot of one up on a hill, put his helmet on him, the other chap's helmet on him, and I won't get too much into it because it does upset me. He put his helmet on him, just had one shot, went out of control, he died straight out, a 20-year-old. And he had a helmet, the helmet became loose, Adrian.
I'm sorry, Lise, to say that, but you have to buy the proper helmet. You need to know how to use the helmet and spend the money. The boys, I'm sorry, Lise, the guys that they use the scramblers for 200 euros, they spend 20 euros on a helmet without any certifications. They don't even know how to use it. I was driving with a motorbike with a sport called a speedway, okay? It's not known in Ireland. And I know that I saw the accident that the guy was hit by the other guy on the back of it. He didn't put the helmet properly. The helmet comes off and he died on the track. I saw that with my eyes. But that's the thing. This is a part of the sport. We drive in the cars every day. We do the motorsports. You see, some guys do the windsurfing, others do the surfing. I try the windsurfing, and I think myself it's more dangerous than the motorcycles.
But what you do, Paul, as an adult is your own business. We're talking here about parents buying scramblers and quads for their kids. You believe that your 9-year-old is skillful enough to use it safely?
Yes, I believe in that because I spend things every weekend with him. I explain him how this works and how to use it, you know? It's not easy, and this is the thing. You have to, when you're a parent, you have to spend the time with the children. Or you can buy the scrambler, give them the helmet, pay €5 for a petrol, good luck, go kill yourself, you know? It's this way or the other. I spend the time with it, and I believe it's a good for him, for his development as well. He's learning how to win, how to lose, you know? I believe it's a good one. At least has a different way, and I accept that. I have a different way. We need to accept that.
Okay, and you don't see that you're putting your child at any more danger than another parent allowing their 9-year-old to play hurling or Gaelic football or rugby or whatever?
No, I see sport as a sport, yes.
Okay.
All the sports has a risk. Yes.
Okay, all right. Stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. This is Samantha.
Hi, Adrian. Just about the quads and the scrambler bikes. I personally don't understand why anybody can just get on those bikes or quads and just drive them wherever they feel fit. I mean, surely to God, they should be treated the same way as a car. You know what I mean? You should have to go and do your theory test, go and do lessons, go and get your full license. You know what I mean? And if you're using the quad irresponsibly, the guards should have every power to enforce, number one, enforce penalty points and an on-the-spot fine, or just ban them off the road, like the same way you would if you were driving your car irresponsibly. Thanks, Adrian. Love the show. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Samantha. Michelle, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Michelle?
Hello, Adrian. How are you? I'm ringing from Kildare, Adrian, and I live beside the canal ways in Kildare. And the canal network in from, say, Rathangan down towards Allen Wood, that vicinity, has been used non-stop by scramblers and quads. We know for sure that they're also involved in other illegal activity in the distribution of illegal drugs and so forth. And the guards can't catch up with them because they're not on scramblers themselves. And it's a complete disgrace, parents permitting...
But you hardly want to see the guards chasing after them on scramblers. That's just, they're going to be looking for a chase.
Well, this is the point. They're coming on our public roads. By the time the guards are called or asked to come out and check on it, because it's out in the countryside, they're gone off the public road or they're gone down another road, and the guards can't catch them. And this is the problem. They're all over the canal roads, the back roads, and they're destroying the place.
Okay, but if they were given chase by the guards, this problem will just get worse.
I know, and that's why they shouldn't have them at all. And that's why they shouldn't be they shouldn't require a licence for these, and they shouldn't be allowed on our canal roads and Waterways Ireland. And I believe that there needs to be a collaboration and a partnership between Waterways Ireland, on Gardaí and the County Council, and all of those need to come together and put a stop to this, because they have terrorised older people and local people in the community. People are afraid to go down their canal roads for a walk, and they are making a mess of the place. It's terrible. And I was on the canal there last year, and I nearly got knocked down. 10 of them passed me at full speed, going 90.
Driven by whom? By adults or kids?
Both. And it's a complete disgrace, and this needs to be addressed promptly. And I can't.
Okay, now we were talking with Paul Donnelly from Sinn Féin earlier on, and they're pushing for legislation which would give the Gardaí the power not only to seize scramblers and quads, but to actually destroy them, literally.
That's right, and they should be destroyed, and the guards should be out after them, and they shouldn't be allowed on the canalways and on the back roads.
And you would support scramblers the parents could have paid several €100 for, literally being mangled.
Completely mangled, and they should never be allowed to buy one again.
Well,
parents are irresponsible.
Paul, just on that point about the use of scramblers and quads in public places, you've already said that you think that's awful, that people shouldn't be doing it. Would you support legislation that would give the Gardaí the power to destroy the bikes or the scramblers or the quads when they're seized?
Well, yes, that's what I said before.
Yeah.
I'm talking about using the motocross as a sport, and the scrambler as a sport, and the quad as a sport. I don't talk about the track drilling and all this stuff, because we lost the point completely from the beginning to this point when we are now, you know?
Okay, stay there for 1 second. Let's have a listen to this from Dermot.
Morning, Adrian. A huge problem that the guards face in relation to these bikes is the fact that they have no ability to chase after them or track them down on green spaces and open areas and parks and stuff like that. They don't have motocross bikes the way they do in England and stuff like that. They don't have the personnel that are trained up, and not only that, but they're not allowed to actually chase after people on these scramblers or try and interfere with them for fear that they'll cause an accident and injure somebody. So that's a huge thing, because the majority of the people that are involved are young kids and young teenagers.
All right, Dermot. Eddie, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Eddie?
Good morning, Adrian. You well?
Yeah, good, thanks, Eddie. What did you want to say on this?
Oh, Adrian, I'd make it as hard as possible for people to buy them. First of all, they should have power to
sorry, I just went on to adverts.ie earlier on, and just loads of them.
Yeah, well, first of all, right, I'd make a law that the old bill can seize and destroy them. I would also find the parents if a kid is caught on one underage. And also, there must be some kind of legislation and criteria brought in that when you go to purchase one in a shop, you have to meet certain
criteria.
Thing, yeah. There has to be some kind of way of doing it. And then also that.
What about the argument Paul was making that his young fella, they do have an area that they practice. He's 9 years of age. He's skillful.
Well, put it this way, Adrian. Would he drive a car following his 9-year-old in another car? You know what I mean? You're not supervising. You're only supervising to a certain extent. You might be looking, but you have actually no control of what that child does on that motorbike.
Paul, do you have any control over what the young fella does on the bike?
Well, he knows exactly. He also has on the hand kind of a string in case of accident or when he's scared, lose the control, which will not probably happen. He can just pull it and the bike will stop, That's all the proper motocross bikes have, so it's a safety thing, Well, we can talk about this. I'm good parent and not good parent, as everyone ringing here. I was just ringing and explain why there is a problem.
Yes, and again, Eddie, let me just read the message that Paul sent to us initially, which was, we need to ask local councils to give us space to practice on these bikes, like old grass areas. It is extremely hard to rent land to do it, even with full insurance, so we need more land to do this.
And how will these kids get to this open space?
That's a good question, actually, Paul. How would they?
Say again, sorry?
How would kids actually get to from their home to the field or whatever?
In that case, you need to be with the parent. You know what I mean?
But you know and I know that they're just going to ride straight to that space.
Okay, but let me ask you, Paul. The area that you use with your young fella, how far is it from your home?
About 45 minutes drive.
About 45 minutes drive. And how do you get the bike there?
I have a van.
Oh, you have a van. Okay, so that's fair enough.
He sounds quite a responsible fella, but you know and I know, Adrian, these little scroats that are tearing up and down football pitches, canals, they're just going to ride their bike from wherever they live to that
I tell you what I think. What I think it should be done in that case. If someone go on a green yard or a football pitch or whatever, GAA, whatever it's done, the parents should pay the all costs and should be even maybe the penalty on a driving license on the parent. And that's it. And that's the parents will start control everything, I guess.
Okay, but you're not putting yourself in that category of those irresponsible parents. You believe what you're doing with your young fella and his scrambler is very responsible, or as best you can do.
That's what I can do, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Stay there for 1 second. Eddie, you would like to see powers to seize and destroy?
Seize, destroy, find the parents, make it as difficult as possible, and also some kind of legislation and criteria for the shops. And also that other chap that had a voicemail there about, he's right, they're not allowed to chase these scramblers. So to get them, right, you're just going to have to send fellas into the area, plain clothes. Because they're not always riding them. Sometimes they're just hanging around and talking, and then you just kind of spring a surprise on them. Because if you're dressed in police gear, they're gone. They're gone as soon as they see it. So you have to go in, plain clothes, straight up to them, and then do it that way, But they are the scourge of Dublin.
Well, the scourge of Kildare as well, listening to that lady talk about the canals down in Kildare. Tony, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Tony?
How are you doing, Adrian? All right?
Good, thanks, Tony. You used to have, what as a kid? Scramblers or quads or all of the above?
And still have a quad now in the shed ready for me. He'll be 5 on Wednesday, and I have a quad sitting ready for him, but...
So hang on. Firstly, you did it when you were younger.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll find that a lot of parents or a lot of kids who have scramblers or quads, their own parents did it when they were younger. But you have one in the shed for your 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and he now... The people that are ringing in talking about this, you can look at it from two sides. I don't agree with the young lads wrecking the place, rallying around on them. Yeah. Whereas, as Paul was saying, the safety aspect, if you have all the gear, these bikes have speed restrictors on them where you can set the bike to go from flat out 5 kilometres an hour top speed, and as they progress and they learn the controls and they get their balance and learn the controls, you can gradually start bringing the speed up and up and up. Anybody that puts the young lad onto a bike and lets him go flat out across the field on his first time, it's going to end in disaster.
We remember the video, I think it was around last Christmas.
Straight into the pole.
Straight into the pole, yeah.
Now that was a PY50 Yamaha. They also have a speed restrictor on them. That hadn't, because that was just gone like a little rocket.
So describe to me, Tony, what you've got for your 5-year-old.
Well, I have a little 50cc quad, flat out. as it is at the minute because it's restricted, it'll go no more than 5 kilometres an hour. I can set the speed on that. Gradually, I can increase the speed on it. My one hasn't got, but what a lot of the newer ones have, they have a handheld remote control. Whereas the child is going around in the field, and if you see that the child is starting to lose control, or he's starting maybe to, get a bit too messy, there's too much messing going on, you can stop that dead by the press of a button.
Right, well, that's good.
It's a radio controlled kill switch.
Okay, now tell me where your 5-year-old will use this scrambler.
My 5-year-old would use his scrambler or anything like that down at Gormanstown in County Meath. There's a track down there, a purpose-built track down there. I wouldn't have him rallying around in the state or on the green and in the state. He would be using it on a proper purpose-built area.
Okay, and is this his Christmas present?
No, it's one that I have there years, and my 2 older sons would have used it. So they've all had a go on it, and now he's next. The 2 lads have kind of grown out, too big for it now. So the other lad he's coming up, and if he doesn't want to go on it and he doesn't like it, he doesn't have to. It's not forced on him. If he wants to get into it, he can get into it. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Okay, so you'll take him to Gormanstown and pop him on it and see how he gets on.
See how he gets on. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. I won't force it on him. You know what I mean? But as regards the guard...
Sorry, I've just gotten a couple of messages in this very second. Oh, my God. A 5-year-old is just out of nappies and you want to put him on a motorbike.
You see, these are more people that don't know what they're talking about. If you actually look into the sport, there is official races for juniors as young as 5 on automatic scramblers. Doing it as members of clubs and organised meetings, the juniors can race on a 50cc automatic motorbike. There's Irish championships.
Okay, let me ask you then, and this is something that Paul, he explained it quite well. Everything in life has risks attached to it. Every type of sport has risks attached to it. Do you believe that putting your 5-year-old onto a scrambler, and obviously teaching him and training him and all of that, do you believe you're putting him at any greater risk than joining the grasshoppers in the GAA club?
There's a risk involved with everything. But when do you teach someone? Would you rather teach them yourself from young, or would you rather him being out in the field acting the age with a bunch of young lads that have a scrambler and he tears across the field and kills himself or somebody?
But what I would argue with you is that 5-year-old of today, not the 15-year-old in 10 years going around the field on a scrambler.
No, not if he's done right. Because if one of mine took a scrambler onto a field or onto a public area, I'd take it off them. And as regards the police, the guards have the power. People are saying the guards need to get this new power they can seize and destroy. The guards have that power.
Not to destroy. They have the power to seize, not to destroy.
Well, where did the bikes go when they seize? They don't get them back. They're not allowed to have them back.
I've known of people to go and get them back.
Can't. That legislation was brought in a couple of years ago when this all started.
Well, it's obviously not strong enough because Sinn Féin are bringing forward even more legislation to deal with this. So it's obviously not strong enough.
But if your bike is taken off you, and I know lads who have had their bikes seized for driving on public roads or on football pitches, you can't walk down to the guards and say, "Can I have my bike back?" The guards are just going to laugh at you. The bike is seized. It's taken away by the recovery company that the guards use. You can't get that bike back because they know you're going to go straight out and use it again and do the same thing again. The guards, me heart goes out to the guards regarding trying to catch these young lads, because the minute they see the police vans or the guard cars coming in, they're taunting the guards.
I know that. And if the guards were able to give chase, it'd be even worse. I do believe that.
It would be, yeah. But if it's done right, you can't categorise the two the same. People have an awful habit of associating, scramblers, wrecking the place, blah, blah. If it's done right and it's used for sporting reasons, proper reasons, not wrecking the place, yes, I would have mine on them all day long in the right environment.
All right, well, stay there for 1 second. We just got a message in, and I'm sure you'd agree with this, Tony, and it says, "My son is 12 and has been doing motocross since he was 8. He is head to toe in safety gear, helmet, body armour, neck brace, goggles, boots, padded shorts, protective trousers. People who give out about bikes in a controlled environment have no idea what they're talking about. It's completely different to the young lads who drive on public spaces." And I'm sure you would agree with all of that, Tony. Tony. Yeah.
Totally. I'll give you one example even of a controlled environment. On that track in Gormanstown, there used to be an issue. When there'd be races going on all day, certain lads would bring the bike down onto Gormanstown Beach. I don't know if you know Gormanstown Beach.
Yep.
Quite a large beach, a very large area, long, right? And if you're, say, racing at 12 o'clock and your next race isn't until 2 o'clock, you have a couple of hours to kill. Some lads are bringing the bike down there or just driving up and down the beach. The club themselves were the ones that initiated. If you were caught driving the bike on the beach and you were a member of the club, you were expelled from the club. So you lost the right to use the facilities if you were using your bike in a public area. They stopped that dead because they don't want to be tarnished with people. Gormanstown Beach for years has been renowned for people taking quads and motocross bikes up and down the beach like lunatics, zigging in and out of cars and people walking. So the club were the ones that initiated it, saying, now you're on the beach, you're gone, we're taking our race licence, you're not allowed to participate anymore, so you'd know where to use it.
Okay, I've been asked to play this WhatsApp voice note from Robbie.
Morning, lads. Look, that chap, he can come up with as many different scenarios and reasons as he wants. At the end of the day, the child is still going on a 50cc machine. You know, I wouldn't put me 5-year-old on a skateboard or a pair of rollerblades. Never mind a bleeding machine. It's just ridiculous. Thanks, bye-bye.
Are these people, Tony, who just don't get it?
Yeah. Would you put your child on a push bike and he flies down the road with no helmet on? If he hits his head off the ground, he can do as much damage on a bike.
All right, I just want to squeeze in one last call, and that's you, Stephen. You're on 98 FM. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Adrian.
Now, you started yourself when you were 14, but safely on controlled tracks, as Tony was talking about.
Yeah.
And what did you want to say on this?
Yeah, well, look, I think there's a massive problem in Ireland with, bikes that have been ridden in public parks. Most of them are probably robbed. And, there is I suppose, like, the whole controlled manner with clubs. There's a chap there referring to Gormanstown, there's Dundalk. Dublin City Council have put a track in Dublin for the use and in a controlled manner. And there's all the legislation that in there for the licensing and stuff as well. And they have ambulances there. It is a safe controlled manner. The likes of these guys that are, riding in parks, public greens and stuff, like in estates and all that, the majority of them are robbed. And they've been robbed by people that have come into the likes of, houses, garages, and robbed those bikes, and they're going wrecking them, and destroying young people and parents' hearts by doing this.
Let me ask you, Stephen, what do you? I think a lot of people agree that we do have a scourge of the use of scramblers and quads in public places. It is a scourge in loads of parts of Ireland, not just Dublin.
Yeah.
What should be done to stamp it out?
I think the government, the council and stuff, they need to provide more for the like this is an ongoing sport that's here, years and years and years. I think more has to be done to facilitate riders and people. Young people all have an urge, to get on bikes and stuff like. So why not do it in a
controlled way? All right, Stephen, thanks very much indeed. I have to take a quick break, but I do have some more of your WhatsApp voice notes to play straight after the break. Don't go away.
The sound of the city, from Kilbarrack to Kiltiernan. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
I'm going to play a few of your voice notes reacting to that conversation in just a second. But before I do, and I'll explain why I'm asking you this question in a second, I have a quick question for you. And I want you to answer this with a WhatsApp reply to 0877 98 98 98. Here's the question, plain and simple. Should a woman reveal that she is pregnant at a job interview? Okay, so she goes for a job interview, she's pregnant, she knows she's pregnant. Should she say to her prospective employer, by the way, I'm pregnant? That's I want you to answer that. Send me a WhatsApp to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Should a woman who knows she's pregnant reveal this information during a job interview? Just text me yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Now, just back to the Scramblers and a couple of your messages. This is Paul.
Adrian, sorry I can't come on now, flat out and walk. His young fella is 9.5 and he's on a part of the Scrambler. He should be locked up.
Well, you heard another parent with a 5-year-old on a Scrambler. Darren was very angry listening to that conversation.
Hi, good morning, guys. Just listen to your topics there about children on bikes and quads. You'll always notice that it's always a certain type of family, and most areas do that every Christmas, and they tell you there's nothing wrong with it, but when it all goes wrong and the poor child dies, the lamppost that they hit or the fence that they hit is decorated like a Christmas tree with the memory of and the flowers of. They just don't give a shit. You can't teach stupid people sensibility.
Karen sent me this.
Morning, Adrian. Just wondering, would these parents allow their 9-year-old kids get into a car and joyride around a field? I don't think so. It's more or less the same thing. A quad, a car, it still has an engine. It's not safe. Cop on.
Alan wants to defend one of our callers, Paul, who was on earlier on.
Hey, yeah, Paul sounds like a responsible parent to me. There's a lot worse parents out there. He sounds like he's teaching his kid the proper way to do it. And who knows, he could go professional when he's older. You have to start them young. And he sounds like he's honing his skills at a young age, and he could turn out professional. Cheers, thank you.
All right, just one or two more. David.
I grew up driving cars and quads and scramblers and that my whole life. I got my first car when I was 6, a Renault 4. Like, that's part of living in the country. Like I said before, living in the town's no good, doing it. Living out in the country, it's a rite of passage.
All right, and one final message from Aaron.
I have a quad for my kids. My daughter's 6 and the young fella's 3. I have it since she was 5 and he was 2. And I have all the safety gear and both of them are on it. But they're not allowed on it on their own. I do be on it with them. And it doesn't go more than 6 miles an hour. So there you go. It's restricted down, so there's no messing, no dangers on it. And it's all controlled by me.
All right, and one final message, and I wanted to bring this into the conversation, and I'll probably bring it up again over the next week or two. You think scramblers are bad? Wait till you see the amount of kids flying around on those electric scooters this Christmas without any helmets on. They are the death traps, says Alan. And it is a conversation. It was advice over the weekend urging parents not to buy electric scooters for their kids this Christmas, and I've no doubt we will talk about that later on in the week. This is 98 FM.
The sound of the city, from Sallynoggin to Swords. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Now, I asked you to message me a moment ago in answer to this question. Should a woman in a job interview reveal whether or not she is pregnant? Because we received a very interesting Facebook message over the weekend from a listener called Diana. And, well, have a listen to this and give me your thoughts on this. Here's what she wrote. I lost my job back in March of this year. And like many, I've been finding it difficult to get a new one. I finally got a call back and interview with a job with a well-known multinational company. Now, she gave us the name of this company. You'd know the name of this company if I were to say it, but she doesn't want me to say it. Anyhow, I had 2 interviews so far on Zoom that went really well. And on Wednesday, I have my final interview also on Zoom. The thing is that I'm 4.5 months pregnant. I haven't told them. I don't think it should matter. And I know for a fact that if I do tell them this on Wednesday, I won't get the job. However, my boyfriend says I should be upfront, but that's easy for a man to say. I'd love advice from other women who've been there. It's a sad state of affairs that a woman should have to say she is pregnant or is afraid to because she knows she won't get the job if she does. Please talk about this before Wednesday, as I'd really appreciate some advice. And that's from a lady called Diana. So she's already had 2 job interviews over Zoom, and she has a third and final one. She's obviously feeling fairly confident. A third and final interview on Wednesday. And thing is, she's 4.5 months pregnant. Our Jeremy was speaking to her earlier on, And obviously the reason she doesn't want to speak to us is because the interview is coming up on Wednesday and she doesn't want to mess up her chances here. But her boyfriend is saying you should be upfront about this. You should tell them. She's afraid to because she fears that if she's too honest, she will not get the job. And I'd like to hear from you on 6797981. Like, for example, the very first message I just got in from Susan says, absolutely not, Adrian. I was pregnant and going for a job interview. I removed my wedding ring and everything. I would never mention kids, husband or anything going for a job interview. I got the job and loved it, but I know I wouldn't have gotten it if I had told them I was pregnant. Sad, but it's tough enough for women in the workforce as it is. And that's from a lady called Susan. And this is from Louise.
And I don't really see why a woman should have to reveal that she's pregnant to a potential employer, because it shouldn't affect whether she gets the job or not. I understand like it can be seen as maybe an honesty thing, but personally a lot of women don't want to reveal that they're pregnant before 3 months anyway. So chances are that our family or nothing knows. So why is she going to want to tell a complete stranger?
All right, well, Louise, in this case, as you've just heard, she's 4.5 months pregnant. So realistically, if she were to get the job on Wednesday and maybe start next week or the week after, she'll be 5 months pregnant by then and going on maternity leave in about 3 months. So the employer will have her for 3 months. Now, some people think that she should be honest. Why not be honest? Why not tell the truth? It's not like the pregnancy is going to go anywhere. It is what it is. And, you could argue that if she was doing a face-to-face interview, she is possibly showing already, and an employer would know just by looking at her, wouldn't even have to ask the question. But because of the life that we're leading at the moment, the interview's been done over Zoom, so they haven't actually met face-to-face, so the employer wouldn't know just by looking at her. Here's another WhatsApp voice note sent to 0877 98 98 98.
Absolutely, a pregnancy should be disclosed. If nothing else, it's for safety. If you're hiring someone and you don't know that they're pregnant, it's really bad. I know that it's to do with maternity leave and everything, but you have to tell. You have to say it.
All right. I'd like to hear from you on 6797981. She's basically saying, Diana, she has a third and final job interview on Wednesday. She's afraid of her life. If she tells the employer that she is pregnant, she just won't get the job because she'll be going on maternity leave in 3.5 or 4 months. We'll take a quick break. We'll take your call straight after that.
The sound of the city, from Coolock to Cabinteely. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
So should a woman reveal in a job interview that she's pregnant? Catherine.
Hi Adrian, I just want to say that I'm a manager who's worked in retail for the last 15 years, and whenever interviewing anybody, if they mentioned they had kids or if they even hinted they were pregnant, there'd be absolutely no way I would hire them. At the end of the day, I'm there to push productivity, so why would I train someone up for 6 months, then they disappear for a year and I have to get cover for them, and then I have to let that person go who's actually worked at the company longer than the person who's been pregnant. So my advice to that guy would be say absolutely nothing, as it will affect the decision of the person hiring her, and anyone who says otherwise is a liar.
I'm particularly shocked, Catherine, don't ask me why, but the fact that you're a woman saying that. I'm being honest enough to admit, if I found out she was pregnant, I wouldn't give her the job. So how are women meant to get on? Carmel, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Carmel.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Carmel. What do you make of that message there?
Well, I agree. I wouldn't tell anybody you were pregnant, because most things nowadays you work from home. Unless you're doing heavy lifting, then you would obviously have to say it. But other than that...
In fact, I'm just looking at the company that she will be working for. I should imagine, and I don't know this for a fact, but I should imagine it probably is home-based work at the minute.
Yeah, this day and age, no, you wouldn't tell them you're pregnant. It's nothing got to do with them, because you'd be working from home, and even if you're on maternity leave, you can still do work on the computer.
I know, but she's going to be missing for 2 or 3 weeks while she's off having the baby, is she not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not superhuman.
I know,
The
you don't do so
argument,
much.
the argument in favour of telling an employer. Now, that message from Catherine is fairly blank in saying, "Don't tell because I wouldn't give you the job if you did tell me." However, by not telling your employer or your prospective employer, and then you tell them, imagine she does this interview on Wednesday, she gets the job on Thursday, and she starts next Monday. Yeah? And then no sooner has she started the job and she tells them that she's pregnant, that would leave a very sour taste in the employer's mouth, would it not?
Well, she'll be still 4 months there before she has to take maternity leave.
Yeah, I know, but it has to be put on the radar.
No, I wouldn't actually. I personally wouldn't tell them. Unless you look huge and you actually have to go for an interview face to face, then obviously you would have to say it.
Yeah, I mean, at 4.5 or nearly 5 months pregnant, she's going to be showing. But they wouldn't.
Unless it's your first. If you're first, you normally get away for about 6 months without showing, depending.
Right, but it eventually has to come out at some stage. If in 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 weeks she tells her employer, by the way, I need maternity leave in March, that is going to leave a very sour taste for not being honest enough.
Well, a good lot of people don't realise they're even pregnant, because years ago now, one of my daughter-in-laws was pregnant. She was 7 months before she even knew she was pregnant.
Oh,
she wasn't showing at all.
Yeah, but this girl does know she's pregnant. That's the difference. Dave, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Dave?
How are you, Adrian?
Dave, should this lady at 4.5 months pregnant be telling her prospective employer, by the way, if you take me on, I'm going to need maternity leave in 3 or 4 months?
Is she under any legal obligation to tell them?
No.
Well, then she shouldn't know. I mean, I know you can't say who the company are, but, would they be a fairly successful company? They would.
Yes, in recent years they have been, yes.
Yeah, they wouldn't be a very small business with only a handful of people working.
No. They're an international company, a worldwide company.
Yeah, well, then she should keep her mouth shut, because her obligations now are to her family and her child. So if she can get the job, and she's in the job, and then she can go on maternity, I say more power to her. Because most companies you ever work for, all you are is a number, and when you're gone, they won't think about you a second time. So if she can get away with it, I say go for it.
Well, let me read this message that's just come in to me, and it says, the employer deserves to know. I've had this situation numerous times where we hire someone and within months they go on maternity leave, which leaves us stuck for staff and having to interview all over again. We've also had women not return after their maternity leave. She should wait until she is ready to return to work permanently before starting a new job. What do you say to that?
I say that person's entitled to their opinion, but I say boo-hoo for the company. We could be heading for a fairly serious recession after this, so...
Yeah, and the reality of it is that this lady, Diana, has been out of work since last March, so this is obviously an opportunity to get back to work, which she desperately, and loads of people are in the same boat, desperately want to get back to work, but it's only for a couple of weeks until she's on maternity leave.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm delighted for her. I hope she gets the job. Look, we can all be idealistic and say you should be nice to your employer and you should be honest with your employer, blah, blah, blah. But you put that into practice in the real world and they're just ideals. It doesn't really have any basis.
All right, okay. So keep your mouth shut, basically.
Keep your mouth shut, and I hope she gets the job. More power to her,
okay, very good. Aideen?
She should definitely tell them that she's pregnant. However, if she doesn't get the job and she feels that is the reason, then she can bring them to court. Because if that is the reason, they're in trouble.
Yeah, very difficult thing to prove, though. I mean, you don't know you've gotten a job until you get offered the job. Karen, you were in a similar situation.
Yeah, I was. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but so I was in my job 3 weeks when I found out I was pregnant. And I genuinely didn't know I was pregnant. So I was absolutely terrified to tell my line manager that I was pregnant, because I was afraid that they think that I did exactly what everyone is kind of encouraging this girl to do, and to deceive the company.
But at the point that you found out you were pregnant, how far along were you?
I was 4 weeks. 5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference.
I was pregnant when I took the interview.
No, I understand that, but there's a big difference in that you wouldn't have been going on maternity leave for another 7 months. This lady is going to be going on maternity leave in 12 weeks.
Well, you see, is she not showing. That's the thing. Like, I mean,
Well, she possibly is, but all of the interviews she's done have been over Zoom, so they just see you from the shoulders up.
I think it's a risky game to play, particularly because she's so far along. Like, there's no way she can tell them, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know."
No, of course, that's the point I'm trying to make. You genuinely didn't know.
No, I genuinely didn't know, and my company actually closed down 7 months later. I worked in Dublin Talks, so I had to tell them for legal reasons, because if anything happened to me, I wouldn't have been insured, and I used to have to walk the shipping yards all the time, and I had to do midnight shifts on my own, so I had to tell them.
Okay, and as a matter of interest, how did it go down when you did tell them? Now, you had the job at this stage, though.
I had the job at this point, but of course I was still within my 6 months probation, so I don't know if they could have. I mean, legally probably not. They couldn't fire me, but
yeah, but if you were doing 6 months probation, there's no obligation on either party in that circumstance, is there?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I think they'd have the right to let me go. They probably wouldn't tell me it was because I was pregnant, but they didn't. I mean, they were very understanding. They were really accommodating. The company closed down in the following February, so I was about 7 months pregnant, and I went to social welfare, and they said, "We can't give you a maternity benefit. You have to go on interviews. You have to apply for the job seekers." So I went on a couple of interviews, and I mean, I'm 7 months pregnant, and I'm not a small girl, I can tell you. So, like, they knew well I was pregnant, and we spent most of the time just having a chat.
Okay, so this lady is doing she's doing her third and final interview on Wednesday, over Zoom again. Should she, because they're not going to see, should she be honest and tell them?
I think she's taken a risky chance by not telling them, because at the end of the day, your first impression is going to stand to you, and if they think she's deceiving them about that, what else are they going to think she's deceiving them about?
Yeah, Sarah, it is a difficult one, because, like I said, on the one hand, an employer might think, gee, she wasn't very honest. If next week she ends up telling them she's pregnant. Should she keep her mouth shut?
No, I definitely think honesty is the best policy on this one. I mean, she has to have a review, 3 to 6 months into it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's going to come back to bite her in the end.
So, she should tell them on Wednesday and risk not getting the job. She's obviously feeling confident. If it's a third and final interview, she's obviously feeling quite good. If she tells them...
But I think they will have more respect for her if she's honest with them.
I know, but they can have all the respect they like. They probably won't give her the job, though.
Yeah, but they might have a job down the line, after the child is born or whatever, that they could keep her in consideration for,
So her honesty may pay off in the long run?
I definitely think so. It just looks so bad, like a week later having to tell them that she's pregnant. Like, it's actually deceiving them, So, I mean, she has to...
But you can say it's deceiving them, but realistically, it is none of their business, really.
But they're looking to employ someone straight away. I mean, they're not just filling the job space for the fun of it. Like, they need somebody to work for them, that kind of way. So... Okay, so you reckon if she's honest, and even if they don't give her this job, if they liked her, they may keep her for something else in 6 or 8 months? Definitely.
Yeah. All right, okay.
If that was me, I'd be mortified a week later telling them, it's just...
Okay, let me just squeeze in a couple more WhatsApp voice notes. Steve is a company owner.
Adrian, it's Steve from Dublin, somebody who's run their own company. The advice I would give is do not say anything during the interview. Wait until the job is offered, and at the point that you are offered the job, then tell them the news. If at that point they refuse to employ you, then you have a case in court because they've offered you the job, and the only circumstances that have changed is the fact that you've notified them of a pregnancy. At that point, you have a very good case in court.
All right, Michelle sent me this.
Hi, this is Michelle. She technically doesn't have to tell them until 2 weeks before she has to go on her maternity leave. Legally, that's what's in it. So she doesn't have to tell them, and I wouldn't tell them either.
Okay, she wouldn't tell either. Aaron.
Also, if I'm just about the girl that's pregnant, if she's not careful, most jobs nowadays, you start off with a probationary period. If she's 4.5 months pregnant, she leaves on maternity leave in 2.5 months, if I'm not wrong. So if she goes into a job, 3 to 6 months is normally what you'd see in a good chunk of jobs for a probationary period to give you your chance to perform. If she tries to say even if she says about being pregnant, and which they'll more than likely notice, and they'll know that maternity leave is coming up, they will let her go after the end of the probationary period and say it didn't work out. So she's risking not even getting the job long term.
All right, and Emma has an interesting take on this.
Personally, I think she should disclose it. They need it to plan the next few months. My attitude would be that if they're the kind of people who wouldn't hire her for it, they're the kind of people I wouldn't want to work for anyways.
Yeah, maybe so. And finally, Kelly.
Hi, Adrian. No, she shouldn't have to disclose it whatsoever, because at the end of the day, she should be getting the job on merit and merit alone. She shouldn't have to disclose anything. And on top of that, men saunter in and never get asked that. Are you settling down? Are you having a family? Are you married? Why is it that employers feel the need that they can ask women that, or women feel the need that they have to disclose that? They don't. Like, simple as, it's nothing got to do with your job. Yes, okay, she's going to have to take time off for maternity leave, but she might take the minimum. She might take the maximum. Again, her choice.
All right, Kelly,
why
thanks very much.
This?
Oh, we're asking because she asked us to ask. Okay, that's why. All right, and in Diana, who's the lady who sent us the message in the first place, I don't know if that's helped you. You're probably more confused than you were before you sent the email. A lot of people saying, yes, you should tell on Wednesday during your third and final interview. Others saying, no, keep it to yourself, it's none of their business. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. That's it from us for today. By the way, if there's something you want to bring up in the programme, just like Kelly, or Diana, should I say, send us an email right now to dublintalks@98fm.com. Barry Dunn is on the way, and in the next hour, he's got some great music lined up like these.
You're a sky, 'cause you're a sky full of stars.
98 FM.